we are with the Q&A for Sam and Emma, and we're honored with 3 of the collaborators who brought us this film. I could introduce you, I think, but instead of tripping on myself, why don't you all take turns introducing yourselves? I guess maybe Vanessa should start.
Sure. I am the writer, director, one of the producers, and I play the role of Sam.
Hi, I'm Chandra Bond. I was the other creative producer on this project.
Hi, I'm Hattie Smith, and I play the role of Emma.
And I have to say, this film just blows me away. I think it's so well done. It's you know, that, so your 4-minute intro of that breakup scene feels so real and well made and authentic and genuine. It's just great acting, great directing, great everything. And then you completely kick the audience's butt with one of the greatest montages I've ever seen. You take that moment that she's looking back on it, and oh, you just lost Chandra. She's back. but honestly, it makes it feel, I think in around 9 minutes with beautiful music, you make me feel like I've watched a whole feature about this couple. I just think it's so emotionally real and available. It just completely gets me every time, and I've watched it like 3 times now. So please, I would right now in your minds visualize, you know, an audience of 75 people at the theater just applauding how great this film is. And I guess Vanessa, since you wrote and directed, do you want to start with inspirations and how you decided to craft this film? Because I'm sure the writing is, I think one of my notes is I just love the structure of the screenplay. So you can tell this came from a very dedicated writer.
Sure. So, well, the script was written very much so like a music video treatment because of the montage. I knew that I think the song more than anything really inspired the storyline. I heard the song first and I thought it was so beautiful, and I was just listening to it over and over and over again. Obviously having no idea if I was ever even going to be able to get the rights to the song, but I just knew I wanted to use it and I was going to try to get the rights to the song. But I kind of crafted a story around that. And then when I started writing it, I knew that in order to really pack in all of the details from beginning to end of this relationship and all the little things, the big things that got them to where they are, it was essentially going to play out similarly to a music video, bookended with the dialogue portion. And because I really wanted to be able to show their journey, but obviously in order to do that in 15 minutes, you kind of have to get a little creative and think outside the box, because you can't just do scene, dialogue. You're not going to fit all of that in 15 minutes. So that's where the montage idea really came from. And I know you noted that the first part of it being so heavy and emotional before we get to the moment where you realize why, you know, they are where they are. We kind of strategically scheduled, so we had 4 days of filming, and we strategically scheduled all of that dialogue stuff on the 4th day, so Hattie and I could actually go through all of the ups and downs from the montage. So when we landed on having to be face to face and go through that breakup scene, it was very emotional. It was a very emotional day, because our DIT, who's also our editor, he actually pulled all the screenshots from the montage, all the good moments, all the sad moments, and he would play them for us through like a slideshow with the music. And that really helped us go to that place where we could perform at that level, because we were able to look back on Sam and Emma's journey, just visually through pictures, through all the stuff we had already shot. So I think it was a way for us to really build those emotions and be able to then just tap into them on the last day, because we had already gone through all that stuff together in our, in our characters. So, yeah, it was, the script came from the song, and when we sat down to kind of plan how we were going to shoot everything, initially we thought there would be a little bit more sound, like sound and music, and then we were like, no, this is a visual medium, let's just take all of it away, so you don't know what anybody is saying, but you can still clearly feel what Hattie's going through, what Emma's going through emotionally, and the way that she's grieving, and then the differences in the way Sam is grieving, and make it very distinct, but only do so visually, and not have to rely on anything anybody is saying. And that was a big goal for us.
And the song inspired, I mean, is there a cut of this that's a music video? I mean, it's interesting to me because it's such a beautiful music video on its own right.
Right. There isn't like a shortened version, but when I am excited to see, because the artist, her name is Charlotte Day Wilson, and it was a very long process to finally get the song rights, but we had sent a rough cut to her and her people essentially for approval, and they did. And so I'm excited to actually release it on YouTube publicly when I can, because she doesn't really have a music video for this song right now. So I would release it just as the 15-minute version and go with that, because I still think as a whole we need all of it. But yeah, I'm kind of like hoping that it could kind of represent that for her a little bit.
For sure. And I guess you want to tell us how you brought in Chandra and Hattie?
Chandra and I have been friends for a while, and she's just a phenomenal producer. Like, I've seen her produce other things, and she works so hard. Like, so many elements that came into play, from like set, just producing as a whole, like all the pre-production, ADing, set design, even from crafty. Like, she really put everything together, because working on a shoestring budget, you don't always have, the luxury of being able to hire someone just to do crafty, or hire someone to go and make all of these runs that you need for set deck or wardrobe or whatever. So she was by my side every day, going out, getting the wardrobe that we needed, or buying stuff for the bedroom stuff, or the house that we needed to kind of make over a little bit. She was really amazing. So a lot of that was our friendship, but then me seeing how she just worked as a producer on other stuff, I knew that, like, I wasn't going to be able to do this without her. And Hattie, actually, I had put out a casting call on Backstage, and she responded to it, and it came down to 2 actors that we had tested for, like, kind of a chemistry read and so on and so forth. And I remember the day, because Chandra was there too, and I remember the day when we tested with both of them. And as soon as Hattie left, because we had already talked with the other option, and as soon as Hattie left, Chandra and I just kind of looked at each other, and we were just like, yeah, this is a no-brainer. Like, we know. And Hattie was just so good. And we were like in the middle of a Starbucks. It wasn't this professional setup. We were just like at a Starbucks reading a scene, and she was so phenomenal, and proved to continue to be incredibly phenomenal during filming, that we just kind of knew right away who we wanted.
Excellent. Well, here, Chandra, you haven't gotten to talk yet. What was your impression when you first read the script?
Well, Vanessa came in with a very clear vision of what she wanted to do with this story, and also what she didn't want to make it, which made it really easy to follow her lead with how she wanted to do things. So my role, as she was talking about before, was really just helping get it done. I thought it was beautifully written, and how she explained it to me with what she wanted to do I was on board from the beginning. So it's really, especially with this small budget, whatever it takes to get it done. And I was glad to do any and everything that I needed to, and I couldn't be more proud of everyone involved, and especially these two with their performance, and makes me cry too.
It's hard to make Chandra cry.
Not nowadays.
I was going to say, you've both made mention of a shoestring budget, and I can tell you, if we were in the theater, people would be saying, you know, raising their hand and telling you, well, I don't think it looked that way. This looks beautiful. Every shot is beautiful. Everything looks fantastic. So honestly, if you told me that your trust fund babies and you threw a huge chunks of cash at getting this made beautifully, it'd be believable because it looks superb.
Thank you.
Thank you.
But now sorry.
I was just saying, it's a lot of passion from everybody involved, and I appreciate it all.
It shows. Well, yeah, I thought we should throw to Hattie and hear what you thought as you came aboard.
Well, I think it's every actor's or artist's or performer's dream to be a part of a project that not only is, well, first of all, I kind of hit the lottery here, because not only did I have like an amazing acting partner and an amazing crew, but also my acting partner was the director and writer and producer on the project. So talk about passion when you go into something. So just going into something where there is so much passion involved, and it was a beautiful story. So it's like, my goal as an actor and as a performer is to be a part of projects that really take a toll on people when they watch it. Like everyone, it's familiar for everybody that can watch it, and it affects everybody in some way. And so when I read the script, I automatically was like, wow, this is something that hits home for me. And it's so different than my life, but also it's like, if it's hitting home for me, I am so confident that this project can hit home for audiences who watch it across the US or wherever. So I felt so excited when I got my call back. And when I met Vanessa and she actually shared with me the song, you can ask my boyfriend. I also was playing it nonstop. He was like, it's a beautiful song. It's a beautiful song, but you played it like 30 times. I was like, it's so beautiful. I just want to be a part of this project. And meeting Vanessa and Chandra, that second callback, I think really hit home for me, that I wanted to work with these passionate artists, and I was so excited that I got to do it.
Fantastic. Yeah, and I have to also ask, as far as casting goes, with the elder versions of your two lead characters. That's obviously the moment that nails me, and it's just so perfectly casted, even though they're not speaking. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
How did you approach that?
As far as the casting is concerned, the Sarah, the one who plays Sam's older version, it was a friend of Chandra, or like she was in your acting class or something like that. Yeah, and Rhoda, I think we also found Rhoda through backstage. And what was really kind of cool is when Rhoda showed up, she had her hair up in this like bun, which was the same exact way Hattie had worn her hair throughout like half of the film. And we were just like, oh, this is like a mirror image of each other right now with just the hair. And we just asked them to bring some variety in clothing that we knew would be the same like color as what we were wearing. And it just came together so well. But so that was actually the easy part. I feel like that was actually pretty easy to nail those two and make that work. Yeah.
You absolutely nailed it. I apologize if I've forgotten, but did you mention how long of a shoot this was?
4 days. 4 days total.
That's a lot. I mean, that's a lot. You captured a lot in 4 days.
Yeah. So when I did like the breakdown, I think we had 7 locations. We had 75 scenes, and we had mapped out over 200 shots that we got in 4 days. So it was a marathon. And then you have to like consider all of the wardrobe changes, all of the makeup changes. Our hair and makeup girl, Roxanne, who also handled wardrobe as well, like just did such a phenomenal job at keeping up with all those changes, because every day we were changing hair, makeup, like, I don't know, it felt like 10 times a day.
And it might have been miraculous directing and great director of photography, but I feel like you had a lot of background actors. I feel like I saw lots of people.
That is also Chandra. Chandra like nailed all of the background people. And I was a little worried when we did a lot of the party stuff or like the engagement scene, if we were going to be able to actually fill a room. And some of the people involved were, a couple of them were like our crew members, but a lot of them were people from that Chandra knew, and she just put a blast out to people and asked them to come, and they showed up, which I'm so grateful for, because I know that like when you're showing up just to do background, you know, work, it's not the most, like, it's not the thing that everybody wants to do on a project, but the fact that everybody showed up and they were super sweet and they stayed the whole time so we could get everything we needed, like just little things like that. I mean, you look at bigger roles when it comes to making something work, but there are so many moving parts, and it's all of those things that you might think are little things that are actually really big things that contribute to making something really work. And that was a big part of it. It was a great example of that.
Chandra, was that, do you want to speak to the fact that I just heard you had 200 setups in 4 days in 17 locations? And
I don't typically AD, but I stepped up to do that on this project because of the nature of how we were shooting, and Vanessa was so clear on what she was looking for. And it was a lot of setups. We did have a very fast pace to work with, especially with all of the changes, which were probably more than 10 a day. But I am happy to say, I think all in all, we didn't end up having to sacrifice that much. We, I think, eliminated 7 shots from a montage and maybe 1 small scene overall, and we had so much to choose from for the edit. It was probably more than we needed, but we had so many options for our editor Will to choose from. They did a great job.
Considering how much we shot, I don't feel like we really got anything that went to waste.
Yeah.
Which I was surprised, because I thought that we were overshooting at one point, and then I was like, oh no, we did not overshoot. We have so much here. And Will, our editor, is so incredible that he was, honestly, it was like the 3rd assembly, he pretty much nailed it. And there were just little tweaks from there that we had to fix. He did such a great job. And the other person I have to give like major kudos to was our director of photography, Chris Bond, because he, as soon as I told him about this, he was like, I'm in, I want to do this. And we started meeting and kicking around different ideas, and we went together through this extensive shot list, which it helped me so much to pre-plan that much, because being, you know, an actor as well on this, I wanted to kind of stay in that zone and not constantly feel like I had to pull myself out of that zone, which I have to give kudos to Hattie as well, because Hattie is so good that she didn't require a ton of guidance. So there were moments like when we would tweak little things, but honestly, I was able to stay as Sam for the majority of the time, because she was so good at just doing what she needed to do, whether it was, you know, emoting a certain emotion or pulling something out. Like, she just didn't need a lot of guidance. And that's just like, you know, an ode to her and her ability to do things that where maybe your director is a little bit more compromised. And with Chris, us going in with a plan, that helped me out a lot too, because he went in knowing exactly what I wanted and what we had already talked about. So anything that we needed to change was pretty minor. It was like, hey, actually, like, this might work a little bit better. Oh, okay, great, good, let's go with that. So honestly, for cramming all this into 4 days, I felt like the shoot was really, really smooth. We had little hiccups like you would on any set, which compromised like a couple shots, but they weren't really anything super vital. So it was good practice in knowing like how to let go of things that I don't have time for, or that you realize don't really need to be in the story.
I
I
will say
know.
that I'm so sorry. I will say that I do think one of the most beautiful things about being on this set with this crew was the amount of trust that was just completely given to the people that were a part of this project, including us as actors too. I think it was really essential to how it turned out, and having to kind of make some last minute decisions or improvisations. And it was a very beautiful set to work on, and the trust was strong.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. There was a ton of trust between all of us, and that was really, really beautiful.
Mhm.
Well, it shows. It shows. I mean, it just came out beautifully. Well, we're kind of bumping into the end of our time. Uh, any mentions that any people need to be mentioned?
God, there are like so many people. There's just everybody works so hard. Everybody was just really like put on a bunch of different hats. I remember, and I know we had like our script supervisor, Caitlin, who also played my best friend in the film. Chandra had, on top of all of her duties, had a small role as well. I already mentioned our makeup girl, Roxanne, who just was so phenomenal in keeping track of all of the looks.
Mhm.
And I think a big part of, I think, why we were able to do this so successfully was probably a lot of the support that we had from friends and family around us as well, who weren't necessarily on set, but were just kind of constantly rooting for us in the background to make this project. And you know, I think when you're making something with such a heavy topic like this, like I think miscarriages or losing a child tend to be relatively heteronormative. And this was all about normalizing lifestyles that are under attack and kind of moving away from an LGBTQ narrative that was specifically about sexuality and you know, being challenged by your sexuality and what that means and how that feels, moving away from that and just having it be about something that I know deep down intellectually we know exists for gay people, but we just don't see out there in film and television. I don't see this happening to gay couples in the media. And I just want to normalize those things and talk about them a little bit more. And the fact that we had so much support and it became this more universally connecting thing was really amazing to have support from, you know, your gay friends and your straight friends and your female friends and your male friends who were just like, I'm watching this and I see that it's with two women, but like it's not even about gender because I feel it because this has happened to me, or like I've gone through breakups, or I've gone through stuff like this that has been really hard, and everybody can just kind of relate. And it was great to have that support throughout the whole process.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I'm glad you mentioned that, because that is, I just agree with that. I think I agree with the message is subtle and beautiful, that it's really just about a relationship, and it's about a miscarriage, and then and I also really love that you show us that this is a relationship that goes long term too, and you really just tell a relationship story between two women that rarely gets told.
Right.
So thank you. More applause from the audience if we'd only gotten to have one.
Yeah.
And I'm so sorry, but we're kind of going long. But I just want to say I really think it's an exceptional film, and I wish you well with it. Hopefully the pandemic will go away and you will get the experience of having this in a theater with the praise it deserves.
Thank you so much.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you.
And
you.
bravo all around. Just imagine the whole theater is applauding you. All right. Well, sorry, I got to stop recording.
Okay.